Hi guys! Deborah from Housewife Eclectic here. We're here today. We're going to show you how to make a Belle dress from a t-shirt, like a peasant style Belle dress. So give me just a minute to get some shares in and then we will get started.
Here, while you do that, I'll show.
This is my best friend Lorene.
Hi!
She's here today. She's way better at sewing than I am, so.
Yeah, I do things that are really easy, so that's why I sew. So I made these dresses for my daughter, who is 6 now. Started on her 4th birthday. She was an artist, and she likes color, so I let her paint. It just starts out as a men's size t-shirt, like an adult size. This was probably a large, I want to say. I don't remember exactly, but she painted it while it was flat, and then we sewed it up. It's just a couple quick seams and some shirring, and I love her art. I'm gonna keep these forever. Maybe she can have them when she grows up, maybe not. So we're going to show you how to do this.
I'm always like, Sophie was like, when I grow up, I'm going to take this to my house. No, you're not. It's mine forever. When I die, you can have it.
Yeah. Most things I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll save this for you. Like, I'm not super sentimental, but these I'm like, oh, but like just looking at it, I can see her like just wearing it. So, and this was hers this year for her 6th birthday. You can see the, her art has evolved a little bit. We've got lots of faces on this one. But she loves colors and she loves painting and she loves getting to wear clothes that she's painted on. And then these also become, when we do craft projects, this is her smock because it can get paint on it and no one will know.
I love that
awesome.
Idea. That's actually really cute.
It works out really well.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to be making today. It's super easy. So what you'll need, Deborah's going to leave she's got links in the description. So you just need an adult size t-shirt. We just start with like these, ta-da, that are on sale at I think all the craft stores this week.
Joann's, they're 5 for $10, so they're $2 a piece, but I felt like Joann's was a little bit picked over, so I went to Michael's and they're 50 cents more shirt at Michael's, but they had a way better selection.
So for my daughter who's 6 and relatively tall, I mean, I think she's probably average height for a 6-year-old actually. I think I've done an extra large for her this year. So once you get much taller than that, they just become shorter, like tunic length. But so you need to, so the length of your dress will be from just below the collar. You'll cut that part off to the bottom of the shirt. So that's kind of how I gauge. I hold it up. How tall are you? And so that's where we gauge the length.
And this one, the Belle dress that we're going to do today, we made a little bit longer because we're going to gather it. Like Belle has gathers in her dress. So this one is a little bit longer. This is large. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, this is the large for your 3.5-year-old.
No, she's 3.5. So we are live here today from Salt Lake City. I'm Deborah from Housewife Eclectic, and this is my best friend Lorene. So when you hop on, let us know where you're hopping on from, and we're gonna walk you through how to make this super easy dress. So even if you're like, this is like beginning seamstress kind of work. So
and it's not perfect. If you're a seamstress, don't.
Yeah, it's not gonna be perfect. So don't judge us if you're a seamstress.
So actually,
so Lorene has made a bunch of these different kinds of dresses. This one, I mean, I have a couple of photos on my wall. This one's a little bit different than the one we're going to make today, but can you see her little one in this?
Oh, that's the one I forgot to bring.
In the TARDIS dress. So turned out cute. And then, yeah, if you're a Doctor Who fan, that's Sean Barrowman. And then you can see my little one's wearing something similar in a gray version for a Weeping Angel, and then her little one is in. Is that the same TARDIS dress, or did you make another one?
I think it's the same. I think that's the same one 2 years in a row. It was longer and then shorter.
Yeah.
Or was that the same year?
I don't remember.
I think that was 6 months apart. So
they've all started to blend. So that one's Billie Piper, Karen Gillan, and Matt Smith. They've all started to blend together.
It means we've done too many.
Well, and my husband's always like, I don't want to know like the amount of money that this wall represents, which is probably true. So, these are super easy. I have several sewing machines. I don't really consider myself a sewer. But I've always, like, these types of dresses I've always been able to do, especially with someone walking me through it. So,
yeah. So the difference between a dress like this, and the one, like the TARDIS one and the Weeping Angel one that we made, is just the waistband. So this is the fastest, easiest way to do it. You cut it and you put elastic in the neck and then shirr the waist and the sleeves, and you're done. The waistband is a little bit more, it's just a few more steps, but it's not hard. We'll show you that another time, hopefully.
Yeah, I still want to do a TARDIS dress. I want to do a TARDIS dress for Haley so we can take pictures of the girls matching.
We should do that.
I have a matching
I meant to bring her dress and totally forgot. It's hanging in her closet. I made my 3.5-year-old a TARDIS dress for the last comic class.
Let's not touch that.
Sorry, my baby is here with us today. He's one and into everything, but he's delightful.
He's super cute, and he was standing on the sewing machine, which wasn't a big deal till he discovered the needle area. So,
yes.
So, you ready to get started?
Yes.
Should we cut?
Yes. So you show me.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you guys. Okay, Alex, I can put you down. Okay. You find a shirt to play with. I'm gonna move the sewing machine so that's not a temptation.
Do you have a long sewing ruler?
I do have a sewing ruler.
Let me find. I may or may not need it.
For you, I'm gonna bring you guys over so you guys can see cutting a little better. I made you a little too tall today, I think. Woo! See, oh, there's my Doctor Who well.
Yay!
It's my pride and joy. And also where all of my money for the last 5 years has gone. Okay, I'm gonna shrink this down just a little bit. And we're gonna bring you over to my counter. I'm super lucky to have counters and yeah, I'm gonna have to shrink you guys even a little bit more.
Yes, Deborah's craft room gives me craft room envy. Partly because mine is full of all my junk, so there's not actually room to do stuff in it.
So the people who owned our house before we bought it, they had a business in their basement? So I'm trying to figure out how to make that so you guys can see.
That'll probably work.
Let's see. There's a sink right where I'm trying to put you guys. So
that should work.
There we go. Let me grab you a ruler and I can hold him for a minute.
Okay. So what we're going to do to get started, we're going to basically, I'm going to draw the line because that makes me feel better about.
Do you want a fabric marker?
Oh, you've got one. I brought one. I was prepared today.
Oh, look
So this is like the best $2 investment ever. Disappearing ink on one side, wash out on the other. So we're basically going to draw, we're going to go from about an inch or so.
I got a yardstick. Will that work?
That'll work.
Or I've got this.
I may not even need it. I use it at my house. But I can't remember what for at this point. Anyway, sorry guys. So we're going to cut from about an inch above the shoulder seam on this side, and you're going to kind of come across. Hopefully you can see that. You're going to cut just barely below the, what's this called? The neck. That's the word. It's been a long week, you guys. Just below the neck of the shirt and over to the other side to make it kind of a symmetrical. We're doing like a fake peasant style dress. It works pretty well, and my girls love the dresses because they're super comfortable.
Hi, Christy. Thanks for joining us. I want to say hi to this wonderful person from Croatia, but I'm scared I'm going to butcher your name.
I think, is it Victoria?
Is that how you? It's really pretty the way that's spelled.
I love it.
I love it too.
I want to name a child that now. I have 4 kids. I'm not sure we're naming any more children. Anyway.
This little one that I'm holding has the most gorgeous Russian name, huh? The people in America butcher it.
Yes, it's a very hard American name apparently. So his name is Alexei, but we just call him Alex because it's easier. So I'm just drawing a line. Maybe you can see. If I draw from this side, maybe you can see. There we go. Just basically, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I'm by no means a professional seamstress or even that much of a perfectionist when I sew anymore. I used to be, and then I had 4 kids. Now it just has to be easy and get done. So I have made probably like 10 of this style of dress. So yeah, I don't know why I had you get a ruler. Sorry.
That's all good.
It's all good.
What year did we make the Dalek dress for Haley?
Was that the same year? Was she the Dalek and the... Because didn't we make 2 at the same time?
Oh, that's it. So she was a Dalek the same year she was a Weeping Angel. She's just not wearing the Dalek dress.
Yeah. So I think the Dalek dress was with Eve Miles, right? Oh no, the Dalek dress was crocheted. We made it the next year because she'd outgrown the little one. That's what it was. So I just folded the shirt in half because that makes it easy to keep it symmetrical. So we're just going to cut about there, just kind of a nice, you want it relatively flattish. Can I use these
Those white scissors are fabric scissors.
Oh look, it even says fabric on it. Isn't that smart? I tie fabric on my handle.
That's smart.
Everybody remembers. I saw a chip, it was probably on Pinterest.
Well, my kids always are like, can I use these ones? Like if you use the white ones, you will be in big, big trouble.
Have you seen the meme that says, if you use my fabric scissors to cut paper, I will cut you, but not with these scissors. It makes me laugh every time. Okay. So you're just going to basically, so all you're doing is cutting off about that much. So your shirt now, it kind of looks like an off-the-shoulder shirt. You can kind of see it's really wide right there. That part's going to be gathered up to be your neck. And that is all the cutting you have to do on this shirt. So I am going to, so next, I'm going to turn it inside out. Which reminded me, so my 3-year-old always has things that are inside out. And when she wants them turned right side out, she says, will you turn this inside out?
I love that.
Every morning, will you turn this shirt inside out for me, Mom? Okay. So what we're going to do, what size is your elastic, Deborah? 3/8.
You know how I told you I had like triple elastic? Where did any of that triple elastic go?
I picked up one and set it.
Here, I can get you the big spool.
Anyway, so you can use, I usually use 3/8 inch elastic. We're done cutting. So I'm going to move back over. Got the sewing machine works going over here?
Yeah, I'm going to put it over there.
We're going to move this way.
Can you help me open these?
I will help you.
Yeah, just a second.
Can I help you? These are,
so,
if you've ever watched my show before, Haley's out here, and then this is her little best friend, Olivia.
yes, this is my 3.5-year-old. Look, Libby, you're on Facebook.
Say hi. She's like, no. So I've got these 2 spools. What does she want?
Okay, let's do this one. That looks like the right size. So I think that's 3/8. This looks like the size that I use. So I think it's 3/8. It's a good width without being too confining. Yes. Okay, she's going to take that and take a picture of it first. Because that's why she's the vlogger and not me. Because she takes pictures of stuff. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to pin down. I usually turn over, for my 3/8 inch elastic, I turn over probably 5/8 inch of the shirt. And I don't make it super fancy or anything.
Yes, give me 10 seconds.
Like I said, these are just play dresses for my girls. So you can see the seam inside. The knit just kind of turns up like that. It's really easy. So all you have to do is leave, we're just going to make a casing big enough for the elastic to go all the way around the neck. Okay. And
I flip that back out, inside out, because I flipped it inside out.
It's inside out. You mean inside out?
Inside out.
Inside
out.
out.
Inside out.
Pin cushion. Do you have a pin cushion?
I do have a pin cushion.
Da, da, da. Oh, it's a cute little cricket pin cushion.
Yeah, they started making like sewing tools because
now they can cut fabric, right?
Yep, because now they can cut fabric.
Very cool.
Uh-oh, why are we fighting?
So I always start at the tops of the sleeves. That's the only part where the casing gets a little bit wonky because it's not exactly right, but I just kind of stretch it and make it work, to be honest. And it's never ended up looking weird because it gets so gathered. So I'm just folding it about this far, if you can see that. So it's about 1 inch. I don't measure a whole lot when I sew. That's why a lot of my projects look like they've been sewn by someone who doesn't measure, but for these kinds of things it works. So I fold it about the width of my first thumb joint is what I always do. And so you're just going to turn it under about that far, all the way around that part that we just cut.
Hey, you're pretty talented to climb up over there.
He's a climber. He loves climbing. Get him climb mountains someday or something.
Don't look at that. That's one of your Christmas presents.
Oh, well. Good thing I wasn't paying attention then.
I left it right on the counter in front of you.
It's all good. So like I said, you're just going to turn it under. So we've got it inside out. We're just going to turn it under enough to give us a seam and the elastic casing. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I start at the shoulders because when you turn the shoulders under, you could just kind of have to stretch the fabric a little bit one way or another. So you just kind of want to watch the seams to make sure that they're not too bulky. Is this making sense?
Makes sense to me.
I keep like trying to hold it up and demonstrate. Really, all I'm
If it
doing is
doesn't make
pinning.
sense to you, like say something so we can help make it make sense to you.
Yes, and I will try to talk slower because I know I'm talking too fast.
And when I say we'll try to make it make sense, I mean she'll try to make it make sense.
This is something that I've done a lot, so I've messed it up a few times. But really, this is pretty foolproof and easy. And like I said, my girls both have dresses like this, and they love to play in them because they're stretchy, they're fun. They can paint in them, and it doesn't make a difference. They're really fun. So I'm gonna make you do the sewing though.
Okay. So if I cry, will you all sympathize with me?
Usually when we do projects, I end up doing the sewing while Deborah supervises. So
I
today
usually
I'm gonna
end up
make her
looking
do the
like
sewing.
she's like, what was it? How many years ago was it? It was probably 4 or 5 at this point, where you ended up making Sophie's Christmas present. Why I sat here like this, like
she brought the fabric and was like, "Will you help me?" It was what was it? Doll blanket?
Yeah,
I
it
think
was a doll
We did
blanket.
a doll blanket and pillow. And I was like, "Oh yeah, just like this." And she goes, "Okay, will you sew that?"
will you sew it? Why I'm your cheerleader?
It worked out great. So you can see as I fold it down, it kind of starts to come together, and it's knit, so you don't want to stretch it too much, but you can stretch it to get it to look right. So do you guys sew? Are you sewers? Are you other kinds of crafters? I used to do a lot of different things, and now I don't do as much of anything, which is okay too.
Someone says they see handles. I don't know what that means. Do they mean see, when you say handles, I think of handles, the little Cyberman head.
Yeah, I think that's what they mean.
Oh. I do have a handle somewhere.
I was gonna say, I know. Now it's like, find the handles. It's like, where's Mogo?
Oh, are they talking about the little Cyberman head on my...
Oh, that's probably it. Yes. You have to be more specific. There's so many here.
There's so many here. I have a Doctor Who problem.
Yeah.
It's shared with her, so I feel okay about it.
Right? That's really why we're friends, is because of Doctor Who. Other than that, we just have nothing in common. No,
Yes, because we weren't friends for years before Doctor Who.
But it feels like it started with Doctor Who. So yeah, so Deborah and I met, I think we've mentioned this before, we met in college. We were randomly assigned roommates in an apartment of interesting roommate combinations. So
that's a great way to put it.
yeah, I haven't really kept in touch with any of them,
I think they
We're
were
all
all really, I think they were all great people. I just think we had like conflicting personalities,
Yeah.
all of us did.
there was just some drama. But anyway, so we both got married at about the same time, like 10 days apart?
Yeah.
7 days apart, 8 days apart. Anyway, so we got married at the same time and moved into married student housing up at Utah State. And I think we were probably their first, possibly their only ever, roommate request for married housing. We were neighbor requests. So worked out really well. Best neighbors we've ever had.
I know, it was really fun. We had like a stairwell up to our apartment that we used to spend like out. We would stand in the stair. I swear that our downstairs neighbors probably like were like so sick of us standing in the stairwell talking. But
Which was dumb. Like we both had couches. Why did we never, why did we wait in the stairwell? Anyway, so now you can see, hopefully, okay. So you can kind of see we've got it inside out where we cut off. And then it's pinned all the way around. So what Deborah's going to do now...
What Deborah's going to do is take a picture, and then I will do the next one.
Okay, Deborah's going to take a picture, and then she's just going to sew around. I left enough space that you can leave...
Is this with regular
Probably
thread
so.
or with elastic thread?
this is with regular thread. So you want to sew with regular thread that matches... Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Do you have yellow thread?
I'm sure I do. Let me dress them.
So you want to sew with regular thread that kind of matches your dress, since you'll be able to see the thread. So you're just going to sew. We're just going to make the casing for the elastic.
There's that. And then let me grab some. Actually, can I have it back for a second so I can match thread?
Yes. We're matching thread. So let's see. Suzanne, yes, this is Deborah's general craft room. So sewing, that kind of stuff. And
This is the room. We always joke that this is the room that saved our marriage.
that's true.
Because I just like my husband, when we lived in Texas, I used to sew at our coffee table in our living room, and they used to drive him nuts to come home and find all of the thread everywhere. So I've got black in my machine right now, so I'm going to pull that out.
Thread doesn't have to be perfectly matching, but if you can match it, works better.
There's even a bobbin in here.
Yay!
Okay, so I'm gonna, there was just a little bit of thread left on that bobbin, so I'm gonna pull it all off. But if you don't have a ton left on there, you can always just overlap it, which I do a lot.
Yes, and then I always need the thread that's underneath. And I'm like, oh man.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and load this bobbin.
And your bobbin thread doesn't necessarily have to match. I usually just use a white bobbin because I'm super lazy.
I usually do that too. If
like
I had a loaded white bobbin, I would probably just do that. But
I started buying the pre-loaded bobbins.
They don't fit my machine.
Oh, that makes me so sad. It like changed my life. Oh, I had some. Because then
okay,
like, oh.
Struggle moment. I'm glad you guys, the camera was where it was so you can see that struggle moment because it was a struggle moment. Okay, I'm going to move you right here so you can see. You know what, Kathy? If you're going to be like that, why don't you just go somewhere else? Because nobody's got time for that kind of stuff. You're always welcome to come and look at the video later if you want to be able to skip around, but there's really no need to be rude. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load this bobbin up, maybe.
So
You want to grab me that?
What do you want?
The pedal?
Oh yeah, that would be
Very important part
of the sewing machine right there.
Okay.
So while Deborah's doing that, I'll tell you a little bit about what we're making. For those of you who are just hopping on, we are making, it's made from just an adult size t-shirt. We're making a little girl's, it ends up looking like a peasant style dress, but it's just made from a t-shirt. And a couple of, one hem around the top, an elastic casing, and then the waistband is just shirred elastic. My girls love them because they're super comfy and they're super easy to make. You can see on this one, my daughter, who we've done this 3 years running now.
It's making really scary noises.
It looks like it's getting wrapped around the bottom. There we go. Like it popped off. I think, does it need to go around that part to keep it on? I keep it on. This is why I started buying preloaded bobbins, because I always end up with a what?
Well, if I had thought about it, I would have loaded the bobbin before we started, but
sorry. We took pictures of this little guy this morning, so we kind of
he just had his first birthday, so he needed pictures.
He's the one. Yes, he was a very good sport. Also, a major perk of having a photographer for a best friend. And I show up and be like, "Hey, can you do pictures like tomorrow?" She's all, "Yeah, sure, come on over." So here we are. Okay. I did get roped into doing this, you know. So.
I was like, if you're gonna come in and hang out with me, you're gonna sew with me,
and that's okay, because I'm making her do all the sewing.
Okay. Let's try this again. See, this is the problem. I've been using my other sewing machine, but the pedal for that sewing machine disappeared today. So now we are using this sewing machine, but it's been so long since I've used it that I'm forgotten how to... No! I still see some on the bottom. It's loading, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sewing machines are fabulous. Sorry to those of you who are really good seamstresses. This is how we sew.
No, and I think it's how most people sew. If there's something that I really like, my daughter's Jack dress for Halloween, I had a professional seamstress do it.
And she did a fabulous job.
She did do a fabulous job. Okay, let's figure out what happened here. It loaded perfectly for a while, but I think at the end but we won't use that much of a bobbin.
Yeah, we won't use, you don't even necessarily need a full bobbin. So like I said, we're making these, so you'll just need a t-shirt. As you can see, my daughter, she paints on it before we sew it. So I usually have her paint it one night, front and back. I just tuck cardboard inside, and then once it's dry, we do like we've been showing you. So we just cut off the top from shoulder seam to shoulder seam, basically, kind of a curve under the neckline. Now Deborah's going to sew a casing for the elastic around the neck.
So then I'm just threading a machine and being grateful that it's not a serger.
Yes.
I love my serger. I really, really do. But I won't lie, every year for Christmas and my birthday, I ask my husband to thread my serger for a present. Because it's a pain in the booty.
Yeah, my husband scrubs our kitchen floor. We have a big kitchen floor, and as I mentioned earlier, we have 4 kids. So even if we're really, really good about day-to-day stuff, he scrubs it like hands and knees. He goes over it like twice and scrubs. That's always meant like a nice, clean, shiny floor. That's what I get for my birthday and Christmas and Mother's Day. And I love it.
She's made these a lot more than me, so it actually is going to be good for you because I'm going to ask questions that you probably will have. So where do you want seam closer to the end?
You're going to sew, so you're going to leave your casing here. So your elastic is going to go in here. So you're going to sew about right there.
Okay, so I need to make sure that I leave enough of a casing for the elastic to go through.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And since it's knit, you'll want a little bit of a zigzag stretch. I usually do.
Okay. A little bit.
I usually do on my machine. I can set it to like a long, narrow zigzag, so it's just a little bit. It gives it just a little bit of stretch.
Would that be better here?
No, I think that'll be fine.
Okay.
So just a little bit of a zigzag, and since it's knit, you don't have to worry about the edges unraveling at all.
I'm gonna try and turn this a little bit more this way so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I don't consider myself, I'm probably an intermediate sewer. So let's see, who asked? Someone asked about what my favorite sewing machine is. So this is a Singer Prelude. It's a very basic sewing machine. I got it on my 20th birthday from my parents, who obviously were trying to get me to be domestic or something. But this is a fantastic beginner sewing machine because there's not so many knobs and dials that you're overwhelmed. It's there's very few stitches if you can see my dial here. Your thread tension is really easy. It's all super, super easy. So this is, I have moved on from this sewing machine. This is not the one that I use most of the time anymore, but like I said, I lost the pedal to my other one. So now you're seeing this one and this one. So I got it for my 20th birthday and I just turned 30 this year. So this one has held up well, 10 years of, I would say, heavy use. So, guys, I've never sewed live before. It's kind of a little bit stressful for me. Okay, so let's see. So we're just gonna, that's quite a zigzag, I think. So we're gonna, she said a little bit of a zigzag, so we're going to bring that down just a little bit. Always make sure you backstitch. I'm sure some of you have sewn a long time and are just rolling your eyes at me right now. So, you can, some people sew over their pins. I don't like to. It's all. So, go ahead and.
How's it coming?
Good.
You're so good. You're not even sewing over the pins.
I know. I was just talking about how some people sew over their pins.
I got a new sewing machine and said, I'll never sew over pins again. And it lasted like 2 months. And I'm like, ah.
You can go so much faster if you're not sewing over if you are sewing over the pins.
Which is why I sew over the pins.
Should I be a rebel?
I have,
look how much faster you can go when you sew over the pins.
And I have bent several sewing needles that way, and it's probably, bad for my machine. Whatever else.
I don't know. So when I was a kid, there was a professional seamstress who lived across the street from us. And she was kind of like all sorts of amazing. She actually used to make all of Marie Osmond's clothes.
Dang.
She was super fantastic. But she was sewing over a pin and it got stuck in.
Turn that one out a little bit. I can give it a little bit more.
And it got stuck in her finger and she was like,
oh,
so it got stuck, the pin got stuck in the machine, so she went to pull it out and the needle got stuck in her finger.
Ouch. And
my dad's a physician, so he had to, came over and helped her get it out of her finger, and ever since then, scarred me for sewing over pins my whole life.
So one thing I'm gonna, for half a second, so as you sew over right above the shoulder seams, it kind of gets, like I said, you have to stretch it kind of a little bit to make the casing look right. I usually pull this center part out like this, and you can see how it kind of gathers up in there. That just kind of keeps it so it's puffy at the top of the sleeve instead of
down farther. As I sew that?
Yeah, so just kind of, it's hard to explain, but yeah, just like that. And if you don't do that, it'll be fine. As I have made these more and more, I've realized that's the easiest way to do it.
I feel like this is going to be tight up here. This pin right here.
Yeah, so you can pull it down. And so you can sew pretty much right up to the edge. So you just have to have enough room for your elastic. why we don't sew over pins. Get stuck. Let children is the moral of the story.
Here's what not to do.
We make a good reality TV show of what not to do. I'm not sure anybody
I was
will
trying
watch.
to sew over pins and be cool like you.
Well, the last sewing project I was sewing a bunch of felt, or a fleece. So I had to kind of push it through the machine, and I was, I had my hand safely on both sides, and pushing it through and wasn't paying attention to the little knob thing on one side where you put the foot in and out. Whacked myself really hard across the thumb. Drew blood a little bit, and my daughter was like, "Mom, did you poke it?" Like she thought I had died. No, I didn't die.
Kathy says she loves hearing that she can hear children playing in the background. Oh. I don't think we could do anything without children noise in the background.
Yes. Unless it's past bedtime.
And then even then, still.
Yeah.
So Lorraine,
oh yeah, my kid sleeps. Yours doesn't.
My 3-year-old doesn't sleep ever. But so Lorraine's got 4 and I've got 2. So we always joke that we're on an every other schedule. So I tell her when she's ready for 5 to let me know, and maybe we'll have 3.
And don't forget, as you're sewing around, I just remembered to remind you this, to leave a gap where you started, so you can actually put your elastic in. I have forgotten before and had to
that was a good reminder to remind, because I'm almost there.
Yeah, that's what seam rippers are for.
Yeah, but I hate seam rippers.
I do too, and I couldn't find mine last time. Last time I needed a seam rip.
They always give me a little bit of range because they rip too much or they don't rip enough. We're getting caught on the table. Da, da, da. So my older daughter, when she was in kindergarten, I don't even know why they were talking about sewing in kindergarten, but she told her kindergarten teacher that my mommy only sews when she only swears when she sews. I'm like, oh great, thanks kid. Okay, so this is a large shirt. So normally for my 3-year-old, we would talk about doing an adult medium. This is an adult large, but since we're doing Belle, we are going to tuck it up a little bit on the bottoms. So we did a little bit longer shirt so that we could. That one got hair. It got dicey. It got dicey. We'll see how that went.
Like I said, that's what seam rippers are for.
Okay. So now we've got just a basic casing. I mean, it looks like you're going to wear it huge off your shoulder shirt.
Very like the 80s style, which I guess is coming back, But we don't have to do that. Especially not for my 3-year-old, for your 3-year-old.
Okay, so now we are going to...
So now you're going to thread. It's about, let me measure real fast.
Safety pin.
Yep, so a safety pin to thread it through. I want to say it's about 20 inches of elastic. So you can kind of measure. The great thing about this is it's really easy to adjust if you have a bigger neckline or a smaller neckline.
So Christy says she was never able to get the hang of using the sewing machine. I would never say that I'm a seamstress or that I could really sew. But I don't know, simple things.
So this one's probably a little on the small side for what we're making, right?
Yeah, that was when she was
about 6. She was 4, but she was a very tiny.
That's
child.
right. She was a very tiny child. I remember that.
She's still on the small side. She's tall and skinny. So
yeah, she's gonna love that when she's a teenager.
Yeah, someday she'll love it. For now, she has problems because her pants fall down. So this neck I'm measuring is about 8 inches, so it'll be about 16, 17. So I think 20 will probably be okay. So it's not. Let me measure the last one.
So I've just got elastic here.
There's no cup.
There's no cups.
So I'll come help you get a cup in just a second. So
Well,
I would
no,
I just
no
measured in the one I
cup.
made for Anna this year is 20 inches. So I would cut 20 inches of elastic, and then you've got your
We got
inch or so to
inches
overlap.
to
So it'll end up being about a 19-inch
No.
neckline. Like I said, you can measure.
I just don't be mean to me.
Uh-oh, are we being
I'm
mean to
going
each
to go
other?
take care of the cup situation while you measure that. So all you're going to do is just thread it through. And the one thing is just to keep it flat as it goes through. Mine that I made for my daughter this year.
That might be my favorite thing ever. Don't be mean to me.
Don't be mean to me. You can see it got a little bit twisted and I didn't notice. She doesn't care at all that the neckline's a little bit twisted. Drives me nuts every time she wears it because she wears it. I meant that to be the back and she wears it as the front. It's reversible. Anyway, so you go ahead and feed that through. I'll
Okay.
get somebody.
20 inches of, come here, Libby, skinny elastic here. And I've put a safety pin on it. This helps you thread it through your casing. So now you've got to figure out where you sewed the hole, where you left the hole. I think it's over here. Maybe. That's right here. Okay. So now I'm just going to stick it through the hole, and the safety pin is just going to help you move. So I stick the safety pin through and I let it gather and then I pull. Does that make sense, guys? So even if you are like worried about not being able to do this, guys, I say maybe intermediate, but maybe an advanced beginner is kind of how I feel where I am in this sewing range. I'm going to turn you guys this way so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. See my messy craft room? It's got all that stuff right there is what's going to go up on my Christmas mantle. After Thanksgiving, it all comes down at Thanksgiving stuff all comes down at Thanksgiving. So find your safety pin. I mean, you can do it without a safety pin if you don't have one, but it's going to be so much easier with a safety pin. So I'm just pushing.
They also do make fancy little tools to thread things through a casing. You can buy them at the craft store. Every time I see them, I think, I don't need that, and then I can't find a safety pin. I'm like, yeah, I do need that.
Let me help.
Why do you need help?
Because I kick this.
You want me to help you put the lid on? I would love to help you.
Okay. We
Olivia, you're about to spill your cup.
You see, I'm just sliding the safety pin through. Pinch, 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 pull.
And just make sure that the other end doesn't get pulled in. You gotta, connect them both. I've done that too.
Like, wait, where's the other end? Oh, it's halfway through my.
I've been like, oh no, I can do one more pull. And then you have to pull it out and do it all over. It's very, very exciting.
So you can see how it's bunching up perfectly there. So I know it looks like you've got a huge, massive neckline, but
yeah. So for those of you who might be just joining us, we're making a peasant style dress like this out of a t-shirt. This is my favorite. I looked and looked when my daughter was 4 for an easy way to make her a quick dress that she could paint on herself, because she is my artistic child. She has drawn on lots of things that she shouldn't have, including my car, like 4 times. She doodles on her side of it. Thankfully it's plastic, so it cleans up, but anyway.
I didn't know that.
She's my little graffiti artist. So we decided to channel it into a dress for her birthday the year she turned 4. And I could find kind of sort of tutorials, but a lot of them were using logos and things on the front, and I didn't need that because she made her own. So she just turned 6, so I've made about probably a dozen of these in the last 2 years. They're really fun, easy, and my kids like them because they're comfortable. They don't like the more structured kind of dresses, because they like to run and jump and play and somersaults and whatever. So they toss on these with leggings.
Yeah, these are the perfect things to wear with leggings.
Good to go.
And I love that because then that makes it so that they can wear it in the winter too. It doesn't have to. I mean, in the summer dress, my girls wear cartwheel shorts underneath these. And then in the winter, they toss on leggings.
It's not even I don't know what it is. And one thing that's nice too is I always make them long for my girls. Like I said, my daughter's tall and pretty skinny, so I make them long for her, and then she grows up and not out. So she
does grow up and not out.
She just shoots up. Her waist has been the same size for like 3 years now. So as she gets taller, it works. It just becomes more of a tunic length top instead of a longer dress.
We've always done that. So I posted a picture of my daughter, I want to say years ago, of her about a year old, or maybe, about a year old, and someone messaged me, they're like, where did you get the shirt she's wearing? I love it. And I was like, it's a 0 to 3 months dress that we just let it become a tunic. So I pinned the end here to my shirt so that it won't go in. We'll see if that makes a difference, if that works.
We'll throw it and chase it around.
So our oldest, her oldest 2 and my oldest 1 are both at school today. So
yes, we love school days. I finally have 2 kids in full day school, so I can actually do things during the day instead of kindergarten pickup was a little bit
It's
killer
brutal.
in the middle of the day trying to go anywhere, especially when your best friend lives half an hour away. Like, I could have dropped my kids off at school and run up here and spent 45 minutes and run back to pick my kids up. My kindergartner, so. And she loves first grade, so it's a win-win situation.
She's doing so good too.
Yeah, kindergarten, she was always kind of like, the day was fine. And first grade, she's like, oh, and then this happened, and my friend did this, and I helped so-and-so on the playground, and she's all sorts of chatty. So I'm not sure if
almost done. You see how nice it's bunching up there?
So it's gonna gather it up real nice. Let's see. Rochelle says, how do you size shirt for age? I go by length. Whatever length you want is what I look at. So you're gonna look at the length from just below the collar of the shirt to the bottom hem of the shirt. That will run from, take off about 1 inch for your casing, and then that'll run from about their neckline down to wherever, if you want it knee length, you can do that. If you want it a little bit longer, you can do that, because it just gathers up around the waist to about whatever size you need it to be. So, did you lose it?
You know that moment when I said it got dicey there? I'm at that part right now.
Oh, yeah. This is why, but it's stretchy, so I think you can probably get it through. If not,
I'm gonna make it work. If not.
So, well, and I just remembered that the last one I made, I decided not to do the elastic casing, put the elastic in the casing until later, and it was a little bit easier for the next part, but it'll be fine. We'll be good. We'll be good. Maybe. Like I said, these are very forgiving. You can do things in different order.
Yeah, no, it got a little too dicey. I need a seam ripper. Do I have one right here?
I don't know.
I have a seam ripper right here.
Yay! You found one. I couldn't find mine last time. I ended up having to use my scissors and like just look really carefully. It was not pretty.
So don't do this.
So just make sure you leave yourself enough space for your elastic.
Which I did not do in this one little part.
And then we'll be good. So all we're going to do, this is the only real sewing part right here. From here on out, it's just going to be shirring with elastic thread. Where was your elastic thread? Oh, we're using my elastic thread.
Yes, because my elastic thread was not elasticy enough.
I'm not sure what yours was.
I don't know what it was. That's all Hobby Lobby had.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So if you've never worked with elastic thread before, it sounds a little bit scary and fancy and intimidating, but it's really quite forgiving. At least I can sew with it, and I'm not a great seamstress. So I picked up this spool. I want to say it was only like $2.
You're a great seamstress.
I'm amazing.
I have a Hello Kitty doll bed set in there that says you're a great seamstress.
That's right. I sewed squares, you guys. I sewed mostly straight lines. It was amazing.
Okay, I think I may have got it through.
So you can get it. I noticed Joanne's had it in black last time I was there, so I picked that up. You can. It's kind of like other thread. If you can match the color of your dress, great. This will be on the inside, so it won't really matter that it's black since the fabric is thick enough that you won't be able to see through it. But this goes on your bobbin, and so you'll hand wind it. Do you have an empty bobbin somewhere? Yes. Ish. Anyway, you keep doing that. So you just hand wind it a little bit loosely on the bobbin, and then the sewing machine kind of makes it a little bit tense, I guess. So it gathers it up a little bit as you sew. About your way. And I'm back. So it gathers it up a little bit as you sew, and then you hit it with a shot of steam from your iron, and it scrunches it up really nicely. And then after you wash it, it'll scrunch up even a little bit more. So you can see this. I'm going to steal your chair for half a second. So all this stretch is just the elastic thread. There's no casing, there's no elastic in it.
You want to finish that neck, right? Do you see both sides?
Yes.
I find you a bobbin?
Yes, so she's going to find a bobbin. So once you've threaded your elastic through the casing, you'll just kind of overlap the ends and stitch them really well together. And then I had one of my daughter's dresses that I needed to make sure that I had the neck the right size, so I just safety pinned them together. And the next morning she was so thrilled with it that she just tossed it on, and I thought, oh, well, I'll sew it later. And it went through the wash, I think, like 3 times before I remembered to pull it out and finish sewing the elastic. So, like I said, very forgiving. Thankfully, my kids don't have super high clothing standards, apparently. So I'm just going to overlap and sew them with a zigzag stitch to sew the elastic ends together. I have them overlapped 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch or so. Oh, thanks, James. Very supportive. supportive comment.
I like this supportive.
That's very
one.
nice. We appreciate that.
The mean ones, I just want you to go away.
Positivity on the internet is a beautiful thing. So thank you.
Okay, we're done with the last. Oh,
That didn't sound good.
it wasn't.
Oh. Yeah, so we're done with the elastic. Like I said, Deborah showed you the TARDIS style dresses earlier that have a cloth waistband. Those I use elastic in, but these are fast and easy. I need a pin back.
I broke a Christmas ornament.
Oh, sad day.
Yeah, the worst part was it was filled with sand.
Oh.
There's another sand everywhere.
Well, just make it
See,
like a...
this is why this is the room that saved our marriage. Because the sand is broken in my craft room and my husband doesn't have to see it.
Yep. And there's a door that closes. That was my craft room kind of expanded out in our basement. We have a guest room and a craft room in our basement. My craft room stuff has kind of taken over both. It's bad. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish that while I do this. Does that sound
Are you
good?
gonna, but don't you need that to do that?
No, you wind it by hand. Huh. I know, it's super fancy.
What? Fancy
So I'm gonna
pants.
let Deborah do this because I'm not smart enough to use her sewing machine.
Yes, because that's the problem.
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Well, that's what I couldn't find. I was struggling finding my pedals this morning, and I was afraid I was gonna have to go get my mom's sewing machine. It's like this old Kenmore from like the 60s. That would have been comical, guys. Like full on comical.
So, in other words, it's a Friday and we're moms, so brain power.
Okay, do I want to go zigzag here or zigzag this way?
You want to go, I usually zigzag back along the length of the elastic.
Okay, along the length. Zigzag along the length.
And if you're a seamstress who knows that that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, I would love for you to kindly educate me. 'Cause that's how I've always done it. I learned to sew from my mom who sewed, so I'm the youngest of 8 kids. And so when I was little, my mom was about done sewing. It was to the point that it wasn't financially important anymore. But like, so my oldest sister, when she was in high school, my mom sewed all of their jeans. She sewed
Oh my
all of
god!
their
Every time I
shirts.
think about that, I'm like,
I know, because well, it was more cost effective for her to buy yardage of denim and actually sew jeans. It blows my mind because now we can get jeans for what, like 10, 12 bucks?
no, like Children's Place does their thing.
I
Like,
know. And that was like my sister was in high school, so I mean she was trying to sew all the fancy whatever, but
okay, so I've sewn the elastic. Now, do I fold it over or no?
yes, yeah. So once you've sewn the elastic together and you've got your neckline, make sure it looks like it's the right size. Does that look too big? Does that look about right? We could take it in a little bit. If
I
you
think
want.
we need to take it in just a tiny bit.
Okay.
I'm afraid it will end up being
Too wide.
a full-on bell gown.
Yeah, the
I don't
off
know.
the shoulder bell gown. Us 3-year-olds don't need that.
No.
Yeah. So once
We're
you
not
have
doing that for
the
three.
yeah. So once you have the elastic in there, you can sew up the casing. Like I said, you can wait and wash and then do it because I've done that before. It's another nice thing about knit. It doesn't unravel. It just curls up a little bit.
I love knit. I hate it and I love it all at the same time.
I know it's such a difficult
It can be a big pain in the.
relationship.
It can be a little bit of a bugger to sew.
So what I'm doing here, I'm just loosely, I'm going to hold that in my lap so it doesn't roll off the table. I'm just loosely hand wrapping this bobbin with the elastic thread. So the machine will kind of do the stretching for you. There are some really great tutorials online for sewing with elastic thread. If you are curious and want to know more than what we're talking about today, you can do all sorts of really cool things with it. My favorite is these girls' dresses because it makes it fit, but it's comfortable. Sometimes with elastic, my girls like it itches, they don't like the casing, or it's a little more restricting. But with the shirring, they have never once complained. I was worried that they would because it's just sewn right on the inside of the dress, but they have never once complained. So,
Uh-oh, I hear tears.
so our daughters are they're both 3.5 roundabout.
That's a rough age, guys.
And they both play pretty nicely until something explodes. Like it sounds like it's happening in the playroom right now. So I'm gonna
I'll go check on. I'm done sewing that, so I'll go see.
okay.
I'll
I was
go
gonna
see
finish
what the
this and then go
issue
check
is.
on them. You can. So yeah, both of our kids are kind of stubborn, I guess is a good way to put it, and they both want to be in charge, which is funny because neither of them is the oldest, which is generally when kids are supposed to be bossy, right? My oldest isn't bossy. He's probably my most even keel kid. My girls are a little bit more dominant in how they try to tell each other what to do. So I'm not sure if that's because they're girls and they're 2 years apart. I don't know what it is. But our daughters, they get along mostly well. But sometimes not quite so much. Kind of like kids. Any age kids, right? So I finished loading the bobbin. I loaded it mostly full, just so we have enough. I hate having to reload bobbins. So you can kind of see, I just hand wrapped it around. Again, you don't have to use your machine. And then, am I brave enough to load somebody else's bobbin? It sounds like a sewing violation, loading someone else's bobbin. So my sewing machine is set up differently than Deborah's. So we'll see if I can get this right. The first time you sew with elastic thread, we'll test it out and just make sure that it's going to work right. Sometimes you have to adjust the tension. On my machine, I haven't had to do that, so I'm not sure if it's a difference in machine setup or what exactly the difference is there. So my machine just has a set in, like a drop-in bobbin, and Deborah's has the, whatever this is called, bobbin case, I think is what it's called. Like I said, not a professional seamstress. Did I put that in right? I put it in place. Okay. I did it, you guys! So,
I tapped into the secret hidden closet of toys, aka the furnace room, where I hide toys that I'm over.
Nice.
Yeah, they're happy. They both needed a ride-on toy, so I pulled out another ride.
Got it. Okay, so I've loaded the elastic thread in there. I just told them we're going to test it out and make sure, because sometimes the tension with the elastic thread. So I'm going to grab that scrap that we cut off earlier, wherever I put it, and we'll just make sure that it doesn't get all skiwampusy. So once you have your elastic thread in, you move it back to your straight stitch.
So just elastic thread on the bobbin.
Yeah, so elastic thread on the bobbin, and then your top thread has matching of whatever, because your top thread is what you will see. So like on this dress, you can see I used such good thread you can't even see it. So it matches really closely, but then on the inside, you can see I used white elastic thread. I can't talk to you.
I was like, one of us will get there eventually.
Whatever the word is. So the inside doesn't have to match, but the outside, I mean, it doesn't have to. It'll get covered up a lot, but if it matches, it works well. I'm just going to sew a quick straight, whatever, stitch, seam.
Thing.
We're going to do the thing.
Thread thingy.
I'm going to do the thing.
We're going to trademark that. Thread
Make
thingy.
sure that it works. How am I not smart enough? Oh, there it is. It's funny. I don't think of myself as being a super, like, habitual sewer, but the presser foot lever on Deborah's machine is at the back instead of the side, and it's really throwing me for a loop. But I got it figured out, so we're good. So with elastic thread, you will want to make sure that you backstitch at the beginning and the end to make sure that it gets tucked in there. Looks good so far.
Yeah, it's sure really nice.
So since it's gonna stretch it up as we sew, I kind of stretch it back out so I can make sure that I see. She's off to save the day from the toddlers again. So we'll see. We're just running a test seam right now to make sure that the elastic will work, since I haven't used Deborah's machine with elastic thread before. Oh, ended up with an extra thread in there. So, ta-da! It worked. So you can kind of see this is the front side. This will be the outside of the dress. You can see it's already tucked up. Once you blast it with some steam and run it through the wash, it'll tuck up even more. And as you do more rows of shirring, it'll tighten up even more. So you can see here's our, it's actually quite useful for, you know, the visual. This is the elastic thread that does not match the shirt. And this is the other side where it does match. So,
Fake crying. Playing mommy and baby.
Oh, we have a lot of that.
It's like, well, you're a very good actress. I thought you were really upset.
So, now is when I need the ruler. I knew I needed the ruler for something.
You need a ruler now?
Yes, I just left it over, I think it's under those shirts, the other ones. So now you're going to turn it back inside out, as my daughter would say, meaning right side out instead of inside out.
Inside out. Okay, so I don't know where I put it.
It was right there. Did it get pulled down?
Would a regular ruler work?
A regular ruler would work. It just needs
Hey,
to be
look, I
long
found
enough.
the elastic.
Hey, I knew I said it somewhere. So you just need something that's fairly straight and long enough to go from armpit to armpit. So depending on how tall your daughter is and what size shirt you're using, you'll start your shirring at a different spot. For my girls, I've decided that starting just below the underarm of the shirt, puts it about the right spot across their chest. If you have somebody who's taller, you can go a little lower. You could go a little bit higher, but you can't go too much higher because then you try to run the elastic thread through the part of the sleeve of the shirt, which would get complicated. So start there, and then we're gonna draw a line, basically from armpit to armpit on our shirt. Which means I need my fabric marker. Did I leave it over there?
Should be over here. Cause it is.
So if you're doing this on your own without child assistance, or doing a video or a friend around, you can make one in, I would say, well under an hour, especially once you have kind of the gist of it. So this part is easier if you draw the line before you put the elastic in, but I forgot about that part. Because it took me making 6 shirts to realize that it would be easier that way. So, does that look about straight across?
Yes.
Okay. Da, da, da. I'm just using the error washout one, and we're just going to draw one line. The first time I did it, I drew all the lines and followed all the lines, and then I realized you can just use your presser foot to keep it straight. See, I'm learning. You're going to draw across, and you're going to go all the way around the shirt. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because with all the gathers, it hides a lot. So you can kind of see, maybe, not sure if you can see, it's a pretty light colored line. I'm move that. So on one side, and then we'll do it along the other. And then I actually, one year, I made these as Christmas dresses for my girls. They were both really little and didn't like the, the typical nice looking Christmas dresses. So I just made them knit dresses like this, and we dressed it up with boots and a cardigan, and it actually worked out super cute. At that, I think they were 1 and 3 at the time. So they can be dressed up. Obviously never be crinoline or anything fancy. But
hey, baby. What's
for my girls, it worked great that year. So once you've got your line, this is just kind of, oh, I'm so good it matched up on this side. I'm a pro, but I did lose my marker lid.
Okay.
Oh, where? Okay. Oh, right there. Found it. And dropped it again. But I found it again. This is why my sewing room is a mess, because that's how I sew. So hopefully you can kind of see that, just a line going around. So what you're going to do is you're just going to sew with your shirring. I'm going to let you do that part. So I always start underneath an arm because the ends get a little not as pretty as the others.
Oh, I flip it inside out.
Nope. So you're going to sew right side out because this is your top thread and your shirring, your elastic thread goes inside.
Stress me out.
But it's going to turn out so well. Okay.
See, this is why you have to sew with a cheerleader. Because they tell you that you can do it.
And this is why I sew things that I know what I'm doing. So
sew on the line?
So you can sew on the line, or it doesn't. And then when you go around, I just move my needle so that it's to the one side. So I've got basically my presser foot width in between. So
yes.
Does that make sense? So it gives
for the second line?
Yeah, for the second line.
Okay, that made sense. Let me know if that doesn't make sense for you.
Sorry. It makes sense in my head all the time, you guys.
Okay, so
just make sure you backstitch the ends. And then you're going to go all the way around. And then when you get around to the beginning, you'll just kind of move it over.
So how many do you do around?
It depends on how many you think you need. So So this one that I just made for my daughter, I was just counting. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 6. I think on this one I did 5, and I wanted it a little bit more gathered up. So every line of shirring around that you do helps it gather in a little bit more. It's a really pretty weak elastic, so one line doesn't do a lot, especially in terms of a waistband. But
so this part actually goes pretty fast. What is making noises?
Huh. Guard thing.
Apparently.
So here, I'm gonna
So
adjust this.
you want to hear a secret about this sewing machine? It has an Aurora squinky inside of it. Do you remember those like little rubber squinky toy things? My daughter saw the little hole in the top where you line the bobbin and wanted to know if she could stuff a squinky in there. And the answer is yes, but you cannot get the squinky back out. So the squinky is stuck in the machine forever.
I'm gonna turn this a little bit. We'll see if we can. There, now you can kind of see what Deborah's doing. It's really exciting sewing around and around in circles.
Round and round.
So you kind of want to keep it flat so you're not puckering it too much. So we're sewing the shirts right side out. Oh, hi! Now you can see me and Deborah sewing. That's convenient. So when you get to the end, you'll back stitch a little bit.
Okay.
And
Did
then
it. One full revolution.
So one full time around.
And then I'm going to go like this.
Yep, and then I always move my needle just to the right and then slide it over. So my presser foot. So I have, my presser foot is up against the first set of stitches that we did. And then we do the same thing, we'll just go around. Around. I would guess on this one probably 5 times will be enough. We'll kind of see. So yeah, you just kind of have to keep it scrunches up as you sew, so you just kind of have to keep stretching it out. You want to keep it as flat as you can. If you end up taking a little tuck in the fabric, you won't be able to tell, but the flatter you can keep it, the more even that makes when it gathers around the neck. Let's see. Sharina, yes, absolutely. You can share it now. You can share it later. We'll share the finished product, what it looks like when the video is done. So you can put share and save this to your timeline and then come back and see it later.
And then you'll be able to skip around. You'll be able to see the beginning. Because it takes a lot longer to get through a project when you're talking through it and live and everything.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to share it because then you can skip around later when you need to see whatever parts you need to see.
Yeah, and if you'd like help with the question, then you'll be able to see it too. So fun. So the ones that I made for my daughters, I've just left the hem plain at the bottom. It's just been whatever, but we're trying to do a...
Hey, Frankie.
Come in.
Did I, what? What did I do?
This follows this. It's going to be beautiful when it's done. We're just getting a little waviness. So your presser foot's following the first set of stitches that you made that followed the line. So your elastic is that probably 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch apart on the rows. So we're just going to go around about 5 times and do that. And then since we're doing Belle, we chose a dress that would be a little bit longer. He's over there. He found 10. And he's trying to take his glasses.
I don't think there's anything he can turn over there.
You're going to try to hurt things. He's a mess maker.
Well, I more meant things that could hurt him versus him hurting things.
All of the above. He's just a mess maker. So, because he's 1 and that's what 1-year-olds do. But so, as I was saying, since we're making a Belle dress, she's got that really nice gather at the bottom of her dress. So we put it a little bit longer on the shirt, and we're going to use a little bit more elastic thread to kind of pucker it up at the bottom. We'll probably sew about every 6 inches. We'll see. We haven't tried it before. I've done something similar on a different dress I made for my daughter. I made when we went to Comic-Con 2 years ago. Anyway, I made her an adipose dress, and it makes me super delighted that it's still one of her favorite dresses. I think she's just about outgrown it, and it makes her really sad, so she asked if I'd make another one. You see? Do you want to see her sewing?
Yeah, I got distracted at that part of the dress.
Like I said, these dresses are forgiving, they're fun. fun, and especially for my kids, they're play dresses. Not anything super fancy. Keep sewing around.
Yeah, it's definitely puckering a lot, so
you just kind of have to keep kind of stretching it out so you sew just as flat as you can. That's good because it means it's working, but it also means it gets a little bit tricky to sew sometimes.
So what I'm doing that seems to be working really well, I am taking my thumbs and stretching the fabric out with my thumbs. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that.
I'll move it a little bit. We'll see if we can.
So I'm stretching the fabric out with my thumbs, kind of holding it down as I go. So, and that's really nice because then you can really keep, I'm just lining up the edge of the pressure foot with the previous seam before that. So that's,
yeah, that keeps them pretty evenly spaced.
Except for the one earlier, don't look at that. Ooh. I actually might go back to that first one and add a little bit more elastic thread in the middle there where it's not quite lined up. Ooh. So just stretching it out. Go another time around.
Yeah, so every time around you'll just backstitch at the beginning and then backstitch at the end just to make sure it's all tacked in because you'll trim some of the threads later. The elastic thread on the inside you don't have to trim. My last dress I didn't trim it on the inside and it didn't bother my daughter at all.
So we're gonna go around again so you can just see that this is
it's getting all
stretchy side.
Shirred, I think is what it's called. S-H-I-R-R. I'm not sure if that's how you use it as a verb, but that's what we're going to use it today.
What's wrong, buddy?
We'll get you a snack.
You need a snack? Okay, so I'm just going around. Guys, I'm super not a seamstress, so this is like awesome that this is something I can do. I've always wanted to get into more into sewing tutorials more, but it's very daunting to think, you know, how many good seamstresses there are out there, and I'm definitely not one. But I think one of my most popular sewing tutorials on my blog is I made it with Lorraine because I told you I need a cheerleader when I sew. We made an Anna cloak, and oh my gosh, it's still so cute. I love it, love it, love it. We were going to make an Anna dress today, but we weren't sure how it would work with just the one color. So Belle's dress is just the one color, so it was perfect for this kind of tutorial. I was talking about the Anna cloak.
Yes. That's still one of those things where I'm like, I can't believe that actually works.
It turned out so cute.
It did.
And I ended up making a smaller version, not quite so complicated version, for my youngest daughter. When she was a baby, she was Anna on Halloween. And then we put that version on our pumpkin this year.
Oh, that's cute. I didn't realize that was the same one. So Deborah and I craft well together because Deborah's like, yeah, let's just get it done and we'll just do it. And I'm like, no, we have to think this through. We have to, so I spend 6 years thinking of how to do a project, and Deborah shows up and in one afternoon it's done. So I've thought about weird ways and factors that don't matter, and Deborah gets things done.
Well, and it's a good combination because she'll be like, hold on, that's something we can't just push through. That's something we need to step back and fix.
This we have to
and
fix.
Other things when she's like, oh, and I'm like, no, that looks great, go.
So between the two of us, we get stuff done sometimes. Deborah gets more done than I do. We have some really big plans to tell my friends. Not that they're watching, because obviously they're not on Facebook.
Something happened.
Did we run out of elastic?
We might have run out of bobbin.
Oh, I thought I put it all full. Maybe I didn't put enough on?
Oh, no, not bobbin. Just came unthreaded. We're good.
Oh, okay. So we have some big plans, which we will share if they are successful. Oh, in a moment, someone's crying. I'm on it.
We're on it. Oh. They play so well together most of the time. It's one of those things. So I'm gonna snip this elastic. I think we're good. I think I had just backstitched when that one went on. Okay, let me rethread this machine and we'll get going again. Flying scissors. So both of our 3-year-olds that are playing right now are both girls. So it works. They were born super close together. So my oldest is about 9 months older than her oldest. And then she has one in between. And then our 3-year-olds are almost exactly the same age. One was born in February and one was born in April. So they're just about the exact same age. Okay, I need to fix that section. It's gonna bug me.
I'll show you which one she's talking about. I'll show you which one she's talking about. Okay, I'm showing you which one.
I love their little voices. They play really well together, and then sometimes they're both, you know, definitely middle children. Oh, mine's not middle because she's the youngest, but they both will eventually hey, no, that was mine. So I'm just showing this one, and there was a section that I kind of messed up, so I'm showing this in the middle of that section to try and make it look less messed up. So once again, pulling straight with my thumbs, and then, so I probably won't sew all the way around this section because I eventually did fix it, but I definitely don't want it to be this big huge gap there. So that's the nice thing about this dress. Like we said before, very forgiving, very easy, that kind of thing. So I'm sewing straight down the middle between these two shears to fix that huge gaping. Look how fast I can go. Okay, and then so about here, we're almost fixed this section. Perfect. Then we will back stitch. Now we're going to pull this off. And snip. Makes me a little nervous sewing on the front instead of on the inside, but see, that looks way better. No big gaping anymore right there. Okay, so you need to go around about 4 times, 5 times, 4 times. Okay, so I'm just sticking this in there. And, oh, I gotta go the other way so I know my presser foot is in the right place.
I just rescued something from toy whatever that maybe shouldn't have been rescued, but they're happy now.
Toy purgatory?
Yeah, wasn't sure if other people use that term too.
It's one of those, like, toys don't get picked up, they go in there, you know, sometimes then they just need to be rotated, so.
Yeah, my kids have lost more toys than they even know about, because my kids are the only grandkids on my husband's side of the family, so they get a little bit spoiled. Or a lot. Oh, we need more?
Yeah. Ran out of bobbin.
I can do that. So obviously, what I thought was a full bobbin and would do the whole thing, did not. So we'll just hand wind some more. And so when you're hand winding, I mentioned this before, you don't pull it super tight, you leave it kind of loose. Just let it kind of go it, so you're not actually stretching it as you sew. Hey, Alex. Did you find a bog? Your favorite? So, I was saying we have big plans eventually. Did you tell them about our big plans?
No, I forgot that we were talking about our big plans.
This is what happens when we get together. We never finish sentences. I'm sure you guys have all seen the unicorn hooded blankets going around. My girls are super into unicorns, as I think pretty much every girl is at this point.
Every person should be.
Yes.
Unicorns.
Which unicorns are fun. We're all for unicorns and sparkles and whatever.
Mama.
Okay. You need to sit, and then you're good to go again. But so I want to make almost all the blankets that I've seen, those unicorn ones, are crocheted, which seems like it would just take forever.
So long.
And I don't have that much patience. And when I crochet, it doesn't end up square or the right size. I don't know that I've ever made anything other than a hot pad that turned out like it was supposed to. So I'm not a great crocheter. I enjoy it, but it's not my strongest skill set. So I wanted to make one from fleece. My daughters love their fleece blankets. And it's really cheap this time of year when it goes on sale, 60% off.
Well, especially solids, and you can do this with solids.
Yeah, when you do it with solids, I think they were $4 a yard when I picked mine up.
Awesome.
Awesome. And we haven't decided how much you need yet. But anyway, so for a few bucks, you can make one. We're going to do that, and then hopefully we'll show you. So I made my daughter
so cute, her costume this year.
I should have brought it. I made her the cutest unicorn hat. It was like one with flaps that comes down over her ears, and it's got the mane and the horn and the ears. It turned out so well. So it's not quite cold enough for her to wear it every day yet, especially since it gives her, fleece hat head. But she's 6. She doesn't really care about that. But anyway, so we wanted to make those for our girls. Blanket size is going to be so exciting. So are you guys making anything for Christmas presents this year? I feel like I'm already behind because it's November and I haven't made the stuff that I need to make for Christmas.
So what else do you need to make for Christmas?
I think that's about it. A couple years ago I had all these plans. I was going to hand make a great Christmas, and I don't think any of it got made because it just got down to the wire and it didn't get made, and it was fine. It never got made. So I stopped doing as much handmade stuff for Christmas.
It's hard. I feel like for handmade Christmas stuff, I have to start in January. And then I don't have the motivation to start in January, so it doesn't get done.
Well, or if I make it in January, it's a thing that my kid really loves in January, and by Christmas, they won't be into it. What are you eating? Where do you keep finding
So I am on round number 4 right now. In some places, it's round number 5 because I went back that big thing. I went back and did a thing in the middle.
Got it.
Because it looked funny. So I went back and fixed it.
As you can see, these are forgiving. They're fun, easy, play dresses, and my girls wear them all the time. They're comfy. They're a lot like, my girls have had some dress-up kind of dresses, and even regular dresses that they just don't like. They've got tags on them. So, it's always more important for kids to just be comfortable, not complaining about what they're wearing.
Right? That is my motto for everything. I just want my kids to not complain about what they're wearing.
Yeah, I don't.
Or what I make for dinner.
Yes.
But I can add everything.
That's the utopia that every parent wants.
Or right now, or we're on it, or what they have to read for school.
Oh.
She's not loving. My older daughter is a massive reader. She reads all the time. But she's assigned a book right now, and she doesn't like it. And she's struggling to get through a book she doesn't like.
That's always so hard to teach kids. Especially when they're kids. Like this or good at that. It's hard to push through things.
Especially when it's her area that is her talent. It's hard, I think, to push through and be like, I'm sorry, this is an area you're good at.
Yeah.
But there are crappy areas to even the things you're good at.
When we went in for parent-teacher conferences a couple weeks ago, and my first grader, both of my kids that are in school actually are really great readers. And my daughter's first grade teacher said, she goes, well, so she's the only one reading at her level, but she's also super social. So I said, well, do you want to read with just me, or would you rather be in a group? And so she said she wanted to be in a group. So she said, well, I hope it's okay that I'm pushing her in other areas since she's not, our reading group isn't super to her level. I hope that's okay that I'm pushing her. And I was like, yes, please do. I don't want my kids to get used to the idea that school's just a breeze. It's never hard to learn anything. Because I feel like it's really important to learn how to learn and learn how to work through something that's hard. I feel like that's way more important than what you're actually learning in school. I don't know. My husband's a teacher, so we do lots of
Well, we've had I think a ton more conversations about that because her husband is a teacher and my husband used to be a teacher. He's not anymore. So, which like I have the utmost respect for her husband for still being a teacher because after he taught for 3 years and he was burned out. It just like for my husband, he loved teaching, and I think he would have kept teaching forever if it hadn't been for the red tape, all the stuff they told, you know, all the extra stuff that he had to do. That was so hard.
The hard part. Lots of people love teaching and working with kids and all the rewarding parts of it that there's all their tests. There's a lot, and some of it, you know, it's all there for a reason, and some of it the reason is still good, and some of it we're not sure exactly
why that.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, my husband is he's at it's a STEM immersion school, so all the 4th and 6th they do STEM projects. That's kind of their focus. And it's really cool. So this year he's not in the classroom. He's doing that, and he loves it because he gets to do the parts of teaching that he really likes, but he doesn't have to do some of the red tape stuff. So he will be there forever. He really misses having his own class already. He can have it year.
I'm so jealous too. Like her husband was teaching 4th grade for a long time, and my daughter's in 3rd grade, and I'm like, yeah, it wouldn't be worth like that 45 minutes I'd have to drive her to school every day. But he's such an awesome teacher.
Yeah. Well, and he's really good. He's not like, I feel like for me to be a teacher, I was always a very good student, so I feel like I would teach totally different because I just always got it. He wasn't a bad student, but he was an average kind of student. And so he works really well with the kids. He really likes helping kids get it. He's a great teacher. He's very good and very patient, which is good for all of us.
I'm going to go handle that. You want to do the next step? Because there's our wristband.
Are they? Yay, they're fighting again. Kids are awesome. I was like, maybe they'll stop. They're not stopping. Okay, so we're to this point. So the waist still looks a little bit big, but as you can hit it with a blast of steam from your iron, and it'll scrunch it up to look more, it'll end up being about this size of the waist. So you can see how much more that gathers up. And then, so next we're going to do the sleeves. So you can see, so these sleeves, I didn't hem, I don't cut. That's part of what I love about doing the t-shirt is I really don't enjoy hemming. I don't like the finished work of sewing. I don't mind doing parts of it, but like I have quilt tops that never got finished because I just didn't finish them. So this is just the edge of the sleeve, and it's 3 layers of shirring just sewn around and around and around. So pretty easy. So while she's breaking up the fight, I'm gonna start doing that. So for the first one, so you can see on this one, hopefully you can kind of see, you can see how I kind of spanned that original serged hem there. So one on the outside, one on the inside, and then one farther up to kind of pull it in. Since it's got 2 layers of fabric, you really need that 3rd row of shirring. Sounds like such a weird word every time I say it. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Who knows? So, they're going to turn on Creative Galaxy. You guys ever watch that? It's one of our favorite Amazon shows. It's on Amazon Prime. It's all about using art to solve problems, which sometimes feels a little bit contrived, I guess. Like, we can make our own shirts for the bake sale when, like, there's lots of solutions. No, anyway, it's a great show. I'm going to sew. So on the sleeves, your shirring rows will be a little bit closer together than they were around the bodice, just because the sleeves are shorter, and they can be. Gather it up a little bit tighter. Look right. Once around. So here we're going to go the second time around. And like I said, it's a little bit closer together, but not much. It's probably a little closer to 1/4 of an inch instead of 3/8 of an inch. And I started at the bottom seam of the sleeve so that the ends are hidden a little bit more. The ends look just barely different. I'm a weird perfectionist that way. Making sure we got this right. How much you want it gathered, you can always add more. We'll do 3 and see how it looks, and then see if we can add one more. And the nice thing about shirring is I've had dresses that I made for my daughter and thought, oh, that's fine. And when she put it on, I thought, oh, I should add one more. You can wash it and then come back and add more. Or not wash it and then come back and add more. Pretty much any point in the project. How's that going?
It's mine, and she's being a stinker.
Mine doesn't really help yours.
Well, yours is being great right now. So,
well, if you turned on a screen, she loves screens. That's her jam.
Haley's fighting because she wants to hold the screen right now.
Got it.
But I'm afraid if I let her hold it, then Olivia will be able to see.
Yeah, being 3 is just really rough. I'm glad I'm not 3 anymore.
Oh my gosh, aren't you? Seriously?
I'm sure my mother's glad too.
Right? You can hear she stops crying for a little bit because she gets distracted by the show that they're watching, and then hi, handsome.
Okay, so we've been 3 times around. We're gonna take a gander and see how it looks.
Did we spill the Cheerios?
Did you dump them on the ground? You were doing so well. I was so impressed.
Say, but there's so much fun on the ground, Mom.
So you can see it only gathered it up about that much. Once we steam it, it'll gather it up even more. Do you think we should go one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
We'll do one more. So we'll go around one more. And then...
Hi, handsome. Hi. Children. I was and my 3-year-old is definitely my more difficult of my 2 children, which I always felt bad saying because I don't want to compare them.
The thread. Where'd it go?
Because they both have their own challenges, but I think she's just the more vocal about her displeasure.
Okay, I accidentally unthreaded it. That means it's your turn again.
Okay.
I cut it too short and it slipped back in. I'll pick up all the Cheerios he just dumped on the floor.
I'm good. You see the popcorn down there?
That's probably what he was going for.
That's what Haley was that's what she was eating while she was watching me work the other day.
My kids went through. I was doing a project on Wednesday.
Uh-oh.
I'll go take care of it.
I think that meant my daughter must have gotten antagonistic. Okay. Uh-oh, I'm hearing something about biting. I think I'm going to have to start over on this. The elastic thread makes it a little bit easier, a little bit harder to thread the machine, just because it stretches so much. Okay, there we go. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. And I'm going to, I gotta figure out which side I've gotta. It's another reason why it's good to sew with 2, because then you've got someone to do crowd control with those kiddos.
I might not need control if there's only one of them. It's a combination of them.
I'm backwards somehow.
Backwards somehow where? Oh, so we sewed around here. So you're going to start here and go around one more time.
Yes, but...
Oh, but you're sewing from the other way. So I moved it back to the middle. You can try and turn it that way if you want, but it's easier to put it in this way and then just line it up with that edge.
Got it. Okay. I was having a moment.
I flipped it for you. without telling you.
Almost having a moment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this last line on.
You did a very thorough job.
I think that one needs a nap.
That's what's hard about 3. They need naps and won't.
Right. They need naps and they won't take them. Okay, so we've got 4 on that sleeve there. So you see the nice shearing there. We're going to go ahead and do it on the other sleeve. This is the nice thing about this project is like there's, so you don't have to do very many hems. Like, because, you know, you're just using the natural hems of the shirt. So let me see how far in so she did this first shearing on top of this. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start.
Yep, you're good.
I told you, she's watching the show and then she cries when she remembers that she's supposed to be crying.
She's got a screen and snacks. This is like the happiest. Yeah. So once we get done with the shirring on the sleeves, this is the part where hopefully can you hear me over the sewing machine? Hopefully. Try to vocalize a little bit. Are we out again?
Ran out of bobbin.
Again?
Well, maybe there's a tiny bit. Nope, it's all good.
Apparently I misremembered how much elastic we need. This is our 3rd time filling the bobbin. So, and that's used, I think this was like I really want to say it was like $3. I expected it to be way more expensive than it was. Elastic. So once we finish with the sleeves, we'll go to the, that's the part where we normally stop on these dresses. You can add ribbon around. I've used rickrack, that kind of stuff. But since we're making it Belle, we're going to add the gathers at the bottom.
So we are getting close, I swear.
We're very close.
It seems like... What?
We are very close. And like we said, if you're doing this on your own, you can put it together a lot faster.
Probably about an hour.
Yeah. You know how it is. When people are watching, things go wrong and weird things happen.
Kids cry.
Lots of crying. Okay, well this is the last of the elastic thread.
Okay, we gotta make it work. Gotta make it happen.
It should be plenty. So, if it doesn't, we'll figure something else out, I guess. You could always use regular elastic if you don't have elastic thread or aren't comfortable using it. You can always set in a casing and do regular elastic. It's a little bit more sewing, so with 4 kids, I try and keep things as quick and easy as they can be. So that's where this dress idea came from. Again, we're gonna dump the Cheerios. Good thing you're cute.
So I've just got to touch up this. So I ran out of bobbin with almost just a little bit left to go. So I've got to touch this up just a tiny bit.
You can usually just catch the end and get it tied in there. Should we pick up the Cheerios again there?
It throws me off to be sewing on top instead of sewing underneath.
Yeah, it definitely takes some getting used to. Especially when you're like, oh, you can see the thing I just sewed. But then it gets all gathered up and you can't see as much. Here, you come over here. I'll pick up.
Okay.
So this was only 10 meters of elastic, which is smaller. The spool that I purchased normally, this is the Ruderman, is that how you say it? Whatever that brand is. It's a little bit smaller spool, so it's less expensive. The ones that I purchased before, probably, I think I want to say they have 2 or 3 times as much. So normally you won't use a full spool unless you get the small spool, like we have today.
Did we use a full spool?
It was brand new.
Oh.
So you apparently will need approximately...
That's what
we're using to film. That's why I can't find it. Okay, so I'm just going around again. And we're going to go around 4 times on the sleeve. Okay. Okay, that's time. That's time 2.
Thanks.
This one's not shirring up as nicely. Once you hit it with steam, they'll shore up.
Okay.
Yeah, the sleeves don't ever shore up quite as well. There's just, you're sewing through 2 layers of fabric, so it just doesn't gather quite as well. You can put them a little bit closer together. Sometimes that helps on the sleeve. Oh. Yes. Okay. Do you want to do this? Finish the sleeve, and I will go take care of that, mommy. Yes. We will tag team. Always makes me feel very like settlerish, you know, like they always talk about everybody, you know, the moms would all get together and sew, so the kids would play under the quilt. And I guess that's not even settlers, that's like my mom's generation. But it's always better to have somebody around when you're trying to get stuff done, especially when it's fun crafty stuff. So we're on the 3rd round of shirring on this sleeve. Fourth round, and then since we're doing a Belle style dress, we will gather it up at the bottom. Then we'll be done, and we can show you guys all our hard work. So that was 3, so then I'm just going to slide it over and do our last row. Baby, where'd you go? He's out watching the show. Very exciting for a 1-year-old to get to watch a show with the big kids. So I mentioned before, he's my 4th, so he does all sorts of stuff as a baby that my other kids never did. My first 2, it was like, you know, the recommendation of like no screen time until they're 2. Like that was so easy because they were the only 2. We just didn't have, we're not huge TV people. With him, I'm like, I need you to sit still for 10 minutes. Just watch this with your siblings. So definitely a difference from my oldest to my youngest. Okay, so you can see it's kind of gathering up. About 4 rows. So slide that out. Keep that long enough so I don't lose it inside the machine again like I did last time. Just thread. Okay, so we have both sleeves sure. There's all sorts of threads all over. We'll go back and trim those in a minute. And keep doing that. So we're almost done. Thanks for hanging with us. I said in person you can do this in under an hour. Doing it on video, live, everything takes longer. So we're going to look. So this is the point where I would normally stop with my girls' shirt here. We've got the elastic waistband, but since it's Belle, we're gonna do. I'm gonna sew just up from the bottom hem. How far do you think it should come? Halfway?
Halfway.
We're gonna sew about halfway. So on this, that's what, about 6 inches?
Yeah, I would say so.
And we're just gonna wing it and hopefully I can sew straight. You trust me?
Do it.
This is the difference between me and Deborah, because if I was doing this on my own, I would measure it and draw straight lines with a ruler.
And I say, go for it!
Just get it done. Just do the thing. So, we'll start about there. I think we'll probably do them, what do you think? Probably every 8 inches around or so?
I would, yeah,
6 or 8 inches. Mm-hmm. We'll kind of measure and see how far we can. I keep reaching over here. My reverse thing is over here, and yours is over here. closer to 8 inches.
I would go closer to 8, yeah.
I'm a really bad judge of measurement. Already obvious. Think like that?
Yeah, I think that looks perfect.
We've sewn probably 8 or 9 inches up, and then we'll back.
You know, and that would all, I mean, like, it would all depend on the length of your dress anyway. So I mean, if you're making this for a 1-year-old, you're definitely going to sew less.
I think that looks about right, because it'll bunch up a bunch more.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, so then how far apart do you think?
I think
about that far?
Yeah.
So that's probably, so we're probably spacing them about as far apart as we sewed up.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how this goes. I said I keep reaching over here. My things here. I don't realize how much a creature I have.
How long have you had your sewing machine? Did you get it in college?
No, I had one in college that Mark bought me for Christmas, actually, when we were living in Logan. And then it needed oiled all the time. And I got really sick of that. So I bought a new one. It's a brother. I've had it. I bought it. It was one of my first Amazon Black Friday things that I purchased. So that was probably 5 years ago.
My husband would wish that I would forget about Amazon Black Friday.
Amazon Black Friday is just so fun.
It is fun.
A little bit anxiety inducing. You're like, oh, you only have 1 hour to get the thing. Get it in your car and buy the thing. But you can do it in your pajamas.
The thing is all gone. We're on the wait list.
Yep.
You can't leave your computer until the wait list is over.
That's the thing that kills me. I always like, somebody needs me. I have to go for 4 seconds. You missed your chance on the wait list. So now that we know how far apart they're going to be, I'm not even going to like clip them. I'm just going to go and we'll clip them later. That's how we roll. So, I'm going to go over. I might regret not clipping them. That far? Yes. A little farther. Can't figure out why.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm going to have to clip that top.
You get used to it.
And I'm going to have to clip the bottom thread. Don't be like me. Just clip the thread.
Don't sew over pins. Clip your threads. We're such great examples.
At least I'm saying, hey, I made a mistake. It wasn't really a mistake. Miscalculation. I really hope this works because it's going to be so cute.
It is going to be cute. I'm trying to decide. So I was looking at like Belle from the cartoon. Mm-hmm. She doesn't actually have roses on her dress. So why do we always put roses on Belle's dress?
I don't know.
Like, where did that come from? Does anyone know? Like, why we put roses on Belle's dress?
Probably some really good accessory salesman.
She's usually holding a rose. Is
Maybe
why
that's
we feel like it needs to go on the dress? I mean, because I'm not opposed to putting roses on the dress.
It's kind of important to the story, you know, the rose. Yeah. Did you ever watch the live action version?
I still have not seen it.
Mark and I watched it the other day. That was for my birthday. He was like, oh, here we go. Like, I know you wanted to watch this and you never got to see it in the theater because we never go to the movie theater. We're just, quite frankly...
Hey, I have not seen any adult movie in the movie theater in, like, forever. But I have seen My Little Pony the movie. Like...
Oh, how extreme. Anyways, he was all excited. It was on Netflix. We were going to watch. So I pulled it up to watch, and it was not what I expected. Have you guys seen it? Tell me what you think about Beauty and the Beast, because I have so many friends who loved it, and we finished it, and we were like, did that really just happen? Did they... So we have mixed feelings about it. Let me know what you think.
So we watched the live action Cinderella, and we're not...
Haven't seen that one yet.
We're not impressed. So that's kind of like marred Seth, who's my husband's, want to see the other live actions.
Yeah. See, because I feel like I only ever heard positive things. I never heard anybody say like, meh. So I was like, oh, I've heard good things. Like,
maybe we just like build it up in our heads too much.
Or maybe it's like, remember how everybody else in the world loves Dan in real life and we don't?
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's like that. But maybe we're just
weird.
But
do you know how often, even though we don't love Dan in real life, do you know how often I quote that movie?
You are the murderer of love.
I tell people they're a murderer of love all the time. And I'm like, you know, for a movie that I don't love, the fact that I quote it so often is a little bit ridiculous. I feel like there's one. Oh, put it on my tab. I say that. Put it on my tab. It's like there's one more thing I say all the time from that movie.
I feel like that one's kind of just become like a general
Generic.
in society kind of thing. Like,
Put
even
it
if you've
on
never
my
seen the movie, you know that's a thing.
Put it on my tab.
Same length. And moderately straight. Okay. Let's take a look. I think we've got one more, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's so funny. I still think of that night. We watched Dad in Real Life, the four of us, me and Lorene and our husbands together.
Oh, back before we had children and we did things.
I know, right? Before we did things that didn't end at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Everybody's got to go to bed. Okay, I think 2 more in that space or 1 more?
I feel like 1 more in the middle.
1 more right in the middle?
Yeah.
You
So-
could measure and space them really evenly, but play dress, so no measure.
Heather says she thought it was okay.
Oh, see?
Danielle said she thought it was weird.
It was okay.
She liked it.
I'm so glad to hear that other people thought, like, it was a little, there were several points that we looked at each other and laughed. We're like, how many committees did that go through? That they were going to
That's
put this
what-
in the movie? And it's a classic. Like, you got to redo it well. And it was just, I wanted to love it, and we didn't love it. Which was disappointing.
You know which one I will be sad if I don't love though? Is the live action Mulan. I will be sad if I
Me
do not
too.
love that.
I'm really scared.
I'm too. Like I don't know
really
how like much they're. I don't know. I can't tell if it's gonna be more like documentary style or if we're like gonna have a shoot. You know?
Could you maybe you could do both, you know?
I feel like maybe Mushu.
I like Mushu.
I was a little devastated when they told us there was not gonna be a musical. There's no singing.
Aww.
I know.
But we'll make a man out of you if there's no song. Aww. Okay. I
We
think we're
did
set.
it!
Which is good because I think we just ran out of bobbin.
Chloe
Did we really use the whole thing? We sure did. So we used approximately 10 meters.
Of elastic. That's a lot of elastic in one little dress.
Yeah. But it's pretty cheap. Like I said, I think that was about $3. So Evelyn,
Danielle's scared too.
yeah.
Nobody's gonna be able to make a man out of you.
Although the book retelling of Mulan, I loved. I can't wait for this. What's it called? Flame in the Mist. You recommended?
Yes.
The book is amazing. If you guys like Mulan, Flame in the Mist. It's a YA.
Retelling of it. My little sister's reading it right now.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I was
So,
surprised how much I enjoyed it.
I actually read for a book subscription box. I read for LitJoy Crate, which is really fun because I get to read. Hey, Blood Ruler's right here.
Yeah, because we used it. I think you brought it over and then I didn't use it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But so I read for a book subscription box, and that was their May book box of last year. So I read that book like in February. So I'm like, that's the hard part about reading books early is then you have to wait like a year and a half before the book comes out.
Yeah.
So I'm dying for that one.
Yeah, so Evelyn says, what are we sewing now? We're just finishing up. We're sewing a dress basically like this. It's shirred with elastic, made from an adult size t-shirt. We're pretty much done. We have to trim threads. I think we could have even come up a little higher on the bell gathers. I think we could have come 2/3 of the way.
So trim threads. You start
Yes.
that. I'm gonna turn my iron on so we can hit it with some steam.
Yes, so with the shirring elastic, there's something, I want to say it's like a polyester casing or something. I don't remember exactly. But when you hit it with steam, it scrunches up. So, Evelyn, the shirring elastic is the waistband and the sleeves. The hem down here, we did normally, this is just the t-shirt hem. Normally I have just left it straight, but we added in some gathers to see if we could get a little bit of a Belle kind of scrunched up skirt look. So hopefully that answers your question. If that doesn't, feel free to ask another.
So we are coming towards the end of this. We're snipping threads and we're going to hit it with some steam and see how it turns out. But if you missed the beginning, you can go ahead and share this to your timeline, and as soon as we're done, it will post the whole thing and you'll be able to go skip around and see what you need to see. Hey baby, you coming back?
These kinds of dresses are my favorite. I've been making these we just calculated and it's been 2 years, and I think it's been close to a dozen between the ones we've made for your girls and that.
Well, we made 2 for Haley, right?
Yeah.
And the ones you've made for your girls.
Yes. So they sew up really fast and easy. My daughter, the green one that I showed you, she, before I cut up the shirt or anything, she paints on it. She's my little artist. She loves to draw and color and paint and all of that. So she loves wearing something that she designed herself, and I just think it's the cutest thing ever on her.
I think that's kind of fun because I was looking at, you know, you put your child's artwork on a dress kind of thing the other day, and they're a little bit pricey. So this is kind of a fun way to do that without it being so expensive.
Yeah, and since she's the artist, my son is our perfectionist. He doesn't like only having one chance. Like, to paint on a shirt, like, no way. He wants somebody else to do it because he'll mess it up and then he'll be frustrated. And she's like, oh, I didn't mean to put that there. We'll turn it into a castle. Or, like, very different mentality.
I adore her.
She is fabulous. She's a very good kid.
Did you find a spool of
Especially
thread?
when she has a creative outlet.
Yeah, she's a very creative child.
If she doesn't have enough downtime or enough creative outlet, we just end up with a lot of tears. So she's in first grade this year, so it was a little bit of a transition of, like, I'm at school all day, are you sure? But when will she said something like, but when will I take a nap?
Like, you don't.
Which is funny because she didn't take naps in kindergarten. But, okay, a couple more threads we gotta clip here. I always, after I'm done, find a thread. Like, my kids will have been wearing something for 3 weeks, then I'll find a thread. Like, big, long, something. One time I found a pin I had left in something my kid was wearing. Thankfully, it did not poke them. I found it in the laundry. I started poking them. So, that's another reason why you shouldn't sew over your pins. If you pull them out and you sew over them,
Then you remember pulling them all out.
yeah. That's why I'm
That's
not
okay.
a good seamstress.
If it makes you feel any better, the Christmas dress that Sophie wore when she was 1 that I made, that Haley then wore, I believe that there are threads that are still not clipped on that dress. Because by the time it was such a pain. And so I made it. It was the very first time I'd ever made something wearable. And when I put it on her, it'll just start if you go.
Thanks for checking. I always make her check.
But when I finished it, I put it on her. I was so excited. It was the very first thing I'd ever made, and I had made it with like really fancy Christmas fabric. And so,
it was pretty bad.
And when I put it on her, she puts on her, and it goes, it falls off her little 1-year-old shoulders, and I was like, what? So then I had a friend that was like, we'll just splice it up the back, and we'll sew on a zipper, and it will look great. And it ended up working out really well, but by the time I was done with that project, I was like, I'm never sewing again. You can't make me. So we're just clipping threads here.
Almost done.
Bring it to me and I'll help you find
This
Daniel
is my
Tiger.
last set of threads.
Haley was like having, Daniel Tiger's scary. Like, Daniel Tiger is the farthest thing from scary in the world.
Just sing the Daniel Tiger song about not being scared. Okay. Here's one more.
I do adore Creative Galaxy.
It is pretty cute.
Daniel Tiger?
Okay. So now you can kind of see where we've finished. We will hit it with some steam and gather it up a little bit more, but we have an elastic casing at the neckline. So just a cut down adult's t-shirt. Not even really cut down. You cut off the collar.
So do we go with the large or the extra large? I don't remember.
This is why I always say I should make a note inside. I think we went with the extra large.
Where it happened to the collar?
Let's double check. This was just the large.
Okay.
So
that's right, because we were going to do a medium for her height, but we went with the large so we could do gathers at the bottom a little bit better.
And I think we may even get some more elastic and elastic thread and gather it up a little bit more. We'll see how it looks. So Deborah's going to hit it with some steam on the iron to...
Okay, but the scary thing is, guys, I can honestly say I've never used this iron, which is really sad. I have heat press that I use for craft projects, and I don't iron my husband's shirts. I make him do that. So
I only iron fabric. So we'll move along over here. We're going to come watch. Maybe it'll even be dramatic enough you guys can see it gathering up, which is really cool. Let's see. If I set
can
this...
you see my sand? This is the ornament I broke.
Aww.
It was a sad day.
Let's see. Can we see? Maybe I can get really creative and put one tripod leg in the sink. Ta-da! So you just hit it with steam. Sometimes it has to be a lot of steam. And you can kind of, maybe, I can see it scrunching up. You guys might not be able to. It's a little more subtle. So you just kind of do that all over, scrunch it up a little bit, and then, like I mentioned earlier, once you wash it, it really tightens it up even more.
Yeah, this is one that like is a good one to send through the wash. Like, yeah. I think I'll probably send it through the wash before I do finish photographs on it. So, and I'm going to turn this into a tutorial, so if you need help, I'm hoping I can get that up this week. See, can you see that it's scrunching?
And then I'll flip it over to the other side too, get it right on. You'd think the steam would go through, but... So you can kind of see how tight the gathers... They're kind of getting tight on that. So you must have a fancier iron than mine. Mine steams every time there's water in it. It doesn't really do the steam settings anymore because it's 10 years old and has been dropped a lot. My iron's a little bit special, but I don't use it enough that I want to buy a new one.
Well, see, I don't use it at all because I just use my heat press, but...
I use it for fabric is all. Yeah, I don't iron my husband's shirts either. We get the easy wrinkle-free ones, and you pull them out of the dryer and hang them up.
Yeah, I pull them out of the dryer and hang them up for him. That I'll do. But sometimes he likes to be... Well, his new job that he just started 3 months ago, he doesn't have to have a shirt and tie on every day.
Oh, so that's nice.
I think.
Does he still wear a shirt and tie every day? Just out
he
of
wears
habit?
He wears a dress shirt, but no tie usually. Oh, can you guys see that one? Look, you can see it scrunching.
See? Satisfying, right?
It's very satisfying. It's better than housework. Let's make dresses all day long.
Let's do it.
Can you see
That'll pay the bills.
It could. We could start a business. Selling dresses.
But then it would be work and it wouldn't be fun anymore.
You speak truth.
Taking the fun out of it.
Okay, is that scrunchy enough or should I?
Yeah, probably. I feel like the sleeves always scrunch up more after they go through the wash and the dryer. Yeah, this is the most satisfying part of the shirring thread, is scrunching it up. It's kind of like when you do a stencil, and you're like, oh, I don't know, you can't tell how it looks till you pull the stencil up, and it's like, it worked!
It did work!
I'm scrunching that up. And so if you decide, like if we decided we wanted the sleeves more scrunchy or we need to add another one in the waistband, you can just go back and sew another round of stitching. Are you pushing that too?
He turned my computer off. That's all good.
What are you doing? Are you finding things?
Okay.
That was
Okay, and then I'm going to come down here. That one didn't scrunch up quite as much, but that looks... You see how it's much more scrunchy now? It's looking more like a dress now. So then we're going to come down here to the bell type gathers. I'm just going to go right over top of them. That one's working really good. You see how nice that's scrunching now? It just pulls right up. Okay, let's do the back side, and I think, yeah, that scrunched up really, the bell gather scrunched up really nice. Okay, we're getting really close. Almost there. I'm going to go ahead and hit this sleeve a little bit more. if I can get a little closer to that and hit it a little bit better with the stain. There we go. There we go. Okay. So there is it's from a t-shirt. You can see it's got the little bell gathers there in the end. So I think I'm going to find little roses, little fabric like rosettes, and put them right there at the top of each of the gathers. So here, do you want to pull back so we can see the...
Ta-da! There we go. Now you can see the whole thing.
So there we go. Cute little t-shirt Belle dress.
Super comfy. This would be great for Disneyland.
Oh, it would be great.
We should figure out all the other princesses.
We should. It would be great for Disneyland. It would be great for Disney on Ice too.
Oh yeah.
So, well, thank you for joining us. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments. I always go back and check and make sure. I'm hoping that I can get a tutorial up about this week if you need written instructions for anything. So, and go ahead and share this to your timeline so you can go ahead and go back and go through it and skip around and see whatever you need to see. So, goodbye from me and...
Wait, there I am! Bye, guys!
Bye. We'll see you later.